Welcome to Heritage Quilt Barn's 2024 pattern for the row by row experience. In this tutorial, I will be using the kit from Heritage Quilt Barn as well as the Bossal 2-inch grid, also available from Heritage Quilt Barn. This grid allows you to lay your blocks out exactly how you want them, then merely press to fuse the fabric squares to the grid. Most of the piecing is done with longer seams and avoids tons of tiny short seams. Of course, you could also piece the row with traditional piecing if you prefer. To begin, follow the instructions in the pattern included in the kit to cut the squares needed for each of the 4 blocks. You will be cutting 2.5 inch as well as 2-inch squares. For the backgrounds of each of the blocks, you will be using the low volume light prints. For spring and winter, use cool toned fabrics such as grays and blues. For summer and fall, use warm-toned fabrics such as yellows and tans. To make the half-square triangles, lay one 2.5-inch square right sides together with a 2.5-inch background square. Draw a line diagonally across the back of the lighter square. Thread up your sewing machine with a light gray thread or something that will blend well, and sew 1/4 inch on either side of the line. Each set of squares will make 2 half-square triangles. Use a ruler and a rotary cutter to cut on the line. Open them up to reveal the 2 half-square triangles. To reduce bulk at the seams, press the half-square triangle seams open. Trim up the half-square triangles to be exactly 2 inches, with the diagonal seam running precisely from corner to corner. A small square ruler is helpful for this. You might also find a rotating mat like I'm using here to be helpful. Then repeat the process for each of the pairs to make all your half-square triangles. I streamline this process by doing all the half-square triangles at once, and assembly line piecing and cutting them. Once all the half-square triangles are trimmed, lay the Bossal grid out with the rough side up on a large ironing board. Decide whether you want to do a vertical or a horizontal row. Begin laying out the blocks according to the picture on the cover. You can spend as much time as you want here. Get the layout exactly how you like it, and then once you're satisfied with it, you can begin to fuse. Here is a vertical version of the row by row. You merely need to change the butterfly block and the fall leaf block. Once you are satisfied with the layout, Take a mini iron or the tip of your regular iron and tack each of the squares to the Bossal grid. It doesn't need to be completely fused, just held in place so that it doesn't shift on you. I will put a link to this mini iron I'm using here in the description. Lay a press cloth, see-through is helpful, over one section of grid at a time and press. Use steam for 5 to 10 seconds until completely fused. Repeat until all sections are fused. Make a long fold with right sides together along a vertical grid line. Sew with a 1/4 inch seam. Press the seam to one side. Repeat for all vertical rows. Clip the interfacing at each intersection, just to the stitching line. Repress so that starting from the top, all even rows are pressed to the right and all odd rows are pressed to the left. This will allow the seam allowances to nest when you sew the long seams of the row. No need to pin, the interfacing holds it for you, and your corners should all match perfectly. Press the long seams all in the same direction. Using a clapper is helpful with this. It allows the seam to cool and dry completely flat. Now for the applique. The provided batik stems and antenna come with fusible on the back. Peel off the paper and place on the row. The fusible is slightly tacky and you will be able to reposition it until you are happy with the placement. Trim down to the desired size and use a very hot iron and plenty of steam to thoroughly fuse. Use matching thread and carefully stitch down the center of the antenna and the stem. Because the fabric is batik and because of the permanent adhesive, the raw edge will not fray much. It will leave a soft edge once it is washed. You could always use a different applique method if you prefer. Join to other rows to make a quilt or make a table runner. Thank you for watching and be sure to reach out if you have any questions.